Now, with me in the studio, Professor David Aworawo, Professor of International Relations and Strategic Studies at the University of Lagos. Mr. Jide Ologun, legal practitioner, national development advocate, and fellow Institute of Leadership Coaching and Strategy. And Yemi Adamolekun, former executive director in Office Enough. Well, gentlemen and Yemi.
You fired me. My successor doesn't start in January.
Oh, you are still? Okay.
Yeah, just that. It's a holiday. So
no problem. Yeah. Well, I don't want to do any summary. I'm trying to manage time. We had to manage a lot of things at the back end. So let me just start with you straight right away, Yemi Adamolekun. You know the topics: agriculture, Myanmar, Nigeria and the US, Somaliland, and then, of course, the very colorful, historic your festival celebration yesterday.
I'll start from Eyo, and I think it's very interesting that maybe it's just the renaissance of interest in all things Africa and maybe Nigeria in particular, that this is also taking advantage of people who have come home for the holidays. So Calabar Carnival was annual and was a big destination for even people within Nigeria. Dirty December is bringing a lot more people home. I just left the Fela Afrobeats Rebellion. I think that's what it's called, Afrobeat Rebellion at the EcoBank. Also a lot of footfall. People just, Fela's renaissance. I mean, Obama has a podcast on Fela at the moment. He's going to be given the Lifetime Achievement Award next year by the Grammys. And the interesting thing about the exhibition was that it was in Paris for the first time in 2022 for 6 months. We've had it here in Nigeria for, I think, about 3 months. But there's an interest in it that it could continue. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is that there's a renaissance of people's interest in our culture. We don't have enough spaces and expressions for those things. And there is a need to invest in that. So that would be my point on Eyo. So your guest I didn't hear him say if they're now going to take advantage of the interest to make it yearly or maybe biannually. It would be interesting. Or every 2 years. Is that biannually? Every 2 years, so that it continues as a staple of our culture. Then Agric, I think the gentleman said a lot. I think you tried to get him on are the tractors being used, or basically what is government's commitment to the fact that we do need to not only feed ourselves, but we have the potential to export food, and the fact that we're not doing that well enough. But I think the one I'd like to spend a little bit of time on is the US Nigeria song and dance is what I would call it. So I think, first of all, Nigeria is not managing the communication around this very well. And we are it's disadvantageous to the country. Number one, Nigeria says we provided intelligence to this collaboration. But till now, most of what is coming out is that they missed. So that, yes, people were hit, but who was hit? Who did we kill? Where was it? Nobody has actually come out to say anything. This is 72 hours plus. Number two, this started off with the US saying that Christians are being killed. I personally believe that by some Muslims, or Islamists, I should call them, or jihadists, there is a targeted attack on Christians. I believe that very strongly. However, the Nigerian government has said that is not the case, that everybody is being killed. Yes. But then you agreed for the US government to attack your citizens on Christmas Day. I don't understand how that makes any sense. Because you are, in a sense, giving fuel to the fire that Christians are being targeted. And if you look at Trump's tweet, he was very clear about it, that he's saving Christians and that they wiped out terrorists, or whatever the language that he used. Trump, that can barely hold the Bible right way up or be able to answer a question on his favorite Bible verse, is not fighting for Christians in that way. There is a war on terror in Nigeria. There is insecurity in Nigeria, yes. But the Nigerian government is not showing that it's controlling or in charge of its own territorial borders to provide a narrative. So the Foreign Affairs issued a statement following the Trump tweet. Then someone from the military also issued a statement. And then we haven't heard anything since then. Now, if you attack a place because you are going after terrorists, 72 hours, I would say, would be enough time for an audit. So you can actually then give a report of, this is what we wanted to attack. These are the people that we were after. And we can confirm that ABCD has been done.
Okay, Professor Aworawo.
I will just take it from there and echo what I've always said and maintained, that The narrative by the government that Christians are not being targeted in Nigeria is not true, it's not correct. And it's been difficult for it to sell its position that everybody is being killed. We admit that there are those who are killing people are non-state actors. There are some of them who are killing people indiscriminately, whether they are Christians or Muslims or any other religion. But there are also those who are targeting Christians, and killing them. Priests, churches, using Christmas Day, Easter. And that is supposed to be government's position. In this matter, is the truth that will set you free.
Yeah.
At this point where everybody can access anything, government's trying to deny that Christians have been targeted simply has not worked. And if they had accepted the fact that Christians have been killed, but every other person too is being killed, and we're making efforts to address the security problem, whether they are Christians, Muslims, or any other religion, that would have been a better position. And that would have advised government over time to maintain. It would have been easier for them to be able to anchor this attack. I mean, explain it. If Trump says we're coming to attack, save Christians and all that, the narrative would have fitting. But because the government has considered say, Christians are not being targeted, it now looks odd that the man who says he's coming to protect Christians and then you allow him to come when you have maintained the position that Christians are not being targeted. That oddity was created. But having said that, I also want to add, like I did last week, I want to appreciate American President Donald Trump for this. We had a job that was existential and we never did it. This thing has been us in 2011. We just carried on as if there was no problem. Do you know what it means to kidnap somebody? I watched a video. I was agitated. The kidnappers tied the hands of those they had kidnapped behind their backs, lined them up. They were up to over a dozen. Carried a bludgeon that had a sharp head and started hitting the heads one after the other. Wow! You see blood splashing. The man will shake. They will hit again and then leave him, move to the next person. These guys are vile. And we just pretend as if there was no problem. We began with President Jonathan, who didn't know what to do initially, but knew what to do. But somehow, people thought he didn't do enough. Then Buhari came in, who was supposed to solve the problem, and did nothing. Practically nothing in 8 years. From the comments we are hearing from those who were determined to solve this problem and how they were treated, it's obvious that solving the problem was not Buhari's agenda. 8 years lost. Then came in the current administration. It wasn't 6 months. Everything was 2027. So, for whatever it is worth, Trump's declaration, 31st of October last year, of Nigeria as a country of particular concern, and every other thing that has followed up to that 25th of December.
It's October of this year.
October of this year, October 31st.
You are ready in
2026. October 31st of this year.
Slow down.
Yes.
It's next week now.
Yes. Up to the 25th, I appreciate it. Whatever would ginger Nigerian government to do what it ought to do on its own, I embrace. So I praise Trump. And people have been writing all sorts of things. Are we supposed to just fold our arms and do nothing?
But is it really? And I think that's my own challenge. How is it really gingering the Nigerian government? And I think that's where the lapse is.
Yes.
Even if Trump did it, whatever control you had around when he did it, how they arrived, then take control of then the narrative of what follows next. And that's where we're not seeing.
And that is the next thing I want to talk about now. Professor Yemi is one of the most prominent theorists of international relations.
Science.
Yes. His major book is titled The Tragedy of Great Power Politics, where he proposed the theory of offensive realism. He wrote yesterday, assessing all of assessing all of this. Yes. Some of the things he wrote, I don't agree with him. I don't agree that this part of the world is of zero value, strategic value to the US and all that.
And that we have distraction.
As he said, no. I don't agree with him.
Trump is making noise that he's signing deals in Congo for their minerals. So how can we be of no value?
No. So now, but there were a few things he said. First, the cost of the operation. Now, Tomahawk, missiles were used.
About $2 million
per one.
And they fired about
12. That is already 24. So if you calculate the cost of this operation, maybe $40 million, $50 million. I mean, how many people have they killed? Maybe a dozen, if at all. Well, we don't know yet, but we'll get to that point. What this shows is that America will not be able to successfully fight this fight. What they need to do is to partner with us. Now, if we had a fraction of that amount, the Nigerian military will take out so many of these terrorists. You know the cost. They have to station in the Gulf of Guinea.
If they have the will.
Yes.
That's the difference. That really is the difference.
Yes.
The will.
Yes.
Important.
Oh, you know what? I'm very saddened about how the whole thing has played out. You know why? That Nigerians are able to build consensus to face terrorists that have disturbed our lives. If you see the comments online, it seems that the people in the north and Muslims seem to support these terrorists. From the things they write, they say, the whole thing is a waste of money. Are we supposed to keep quiet and maintain the status quo
But you
as
have
it
to
is?
understand the context of the framing that it's a religious war. So why would the Northerners be opposed to that narrative that they're killing Christians?
Now, all this while that this has gone on, what have they done?
Oh, well, that's a different question.
Yes. So now it's the time for all of us to come together to face the common enemy. That's the point I'm making. The US cannot win the war for us. They can see that it is too expensive. They cannot be fighting for the God of Guinea. And we even had one other side show to it, which is that it seems even the terrorists got information before 25th. That they had evacuated the place. That's why.
Oh, there was nobody to.
Yeah. So that which reveals a contradiction within our own structure.
But the pattern. No, also means that the pattern is consistent. That's been the pattern within the Nigerian military. Look at from Chibok, at least we take 2014. From Chibok to now,
that is
consistent
correct.
pattern.
That is correct. So that is what the military has to address, and so that we can move on. Well, let me leave that. I'm just commenting briefly about agriculture because that is important. Now, the government is trying to do with mechanized farming and all. What we hear is that the tractors that came, politicians have hijacked them and using them as constituent for election. So they are not in any bush, any farm, doing any farm deal. They are kept somewhere. I have friends and they show me evidence because I said that cannot happen. And they show me evidence. Government needs to pay attention to that. And then 3, the point you made regarding Nigeria not only being able to feed itself, but also exporting. The thing has to go further. I spent some time in South Africa, and what I discovered is that in most of the farms, it's not just a farm that is producing agricultural product and selling raw. There's also a factory within the farm. So what you see are trucks coming out with already, they are going to the supermarket. That is the kind of thing we need to do if we're able to maximize our potential in agriculture. But of course, that amount that the government has set aside for it is too small. It needs to be, and of course, more importantly, they need to manage this thing well, because when you bring tractors and politicians sit on it and they want to use it, they are not giving it, no farming is being done with it, then it's a waste. All of these things need to be fine-tuned so that we can maximize opportunities and benefits that would come from, our vast potential in agriculture.
Mr. Ologun.
Thank you, Doctor. Let me start from the American hitting Sokoto states. I think I'll pick that intelligent approach because in firefighting, you say take out the oxygen, you take out the fire. You see, it's not really where these people strike that you go and encounter them proactively. You dislodge them from their base. And reportedly, the Aworawo, they've converged around Sokoto, which may also be a distraction to those who are trying to locate where they are. And of course, if you engage them at the point of, hibernating and planning their invasion on the nation, you can begin to decimate their negative impact on the country. And again, on the narratives, I'm not really sure whether the Nigerian government can really confirm that they knew America was coming to carry out that exercise. And if at all, is Nigeria ready to leverage on these starting points and move to the secondary level of dealing with the sponsors? Because from what has been revealed in recent times, there are power brokers in the country who are sponsoring the terrorism. So while you are dealing with those on the field, you also need to deal with their sponsors to send out a strong signal that the government is now ready and have the political will to, fulfill what we have in Section 14, subsection 2 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, that security and the welfare of the citizens shall be the primary purpose of government. And one other lesson to learn from Trump is that he said he would, and he has moved to act. So enough of just making promises, giving executive order, make sure that you stop insecurity. Let's have action. And I believe that if that is sustained, before long, we should have a remarkable presence of security in the country. And that connects us to the agriculture. I really enjoyed that encounter, saying that you need to move from the rudimentary level. If you want to study countries that have made so much out of agriculture, USA is leading. In fact, the economy of USA does not joke with the agriculture ecosystem. And my recommendation is that we look at the culture aspect of it. Have we built a culture of agroeconomy?
What do you mean?
In the First Republic, we depended largely on that as a nation. But gradually, after the oil boom and everything, we have moved away. So now it may be the political culture that is driving the policies and not that investment culture. Because I recall when we were in school, right from primary schools, we were all engaged in agriculture. We had gardens at the back of our schools, even back at home during Operation Feed the Nation. My father had a farm that we used to go after coming from school. So right now, when we import the tractors, are they not for sure? Because he spoke about implementing the policy sustainably. UAE has done it. In fact, UAE is embracing hydroponics in their agro engagements. Even when the Western world told Sheikh Zayed that UAE could not succeed in agriculture, he said to his people, no, let's go and venture it. You talk about Brazil, you talk about China, you talk about Netherlands. So how much are we interested in making it a culture? And in Africa, Ethiopia, Nigeria, and I think Morocco have been identified as having a high potential because of the arable land that we have. But how well are we ready to drive that project process, not just buying tractors? Like we have asked, when Buhari was the president, he bought Tucano jets. So what did the government then achieve with the Tucano jets? So we need to go back to that. I recall when the former governor of Osun State started the production of tomatoes in Osun. How far have we gone with that? And you now bring it to the ungoverned space in the country, like your guest mentioned, that is making farming difficult. Because we were discussing the case of Lagos State. If you know the aquaculture value of Lagos State, you'll be amazed. How much of it? Yeah, Lagos State is investing at the secondary level of agriculture and everything. If we focus on harnessing the resources of this country, then we should have food security and the economic security that we so much desire. Then, talking about Myanmar and the military junta there trying to stagnate opposition, it's been a common feature. And of course, I appreciate what your guest mentioned, that it's one time for everyone. They will do their own and go. And it's beginning to put that question on the table, that what exactly is democracy? I struggle to look around for democracy in Africa. So it's just about people getting into power and trying to grab what they can grab and suppress opposition as long as they are there. And then I hope that as we proceed, the AU will design mechanism to ensure that good governance is entrenched in the continent. And right now, you look at those who have moved away from ECOWAS and the Sahel region, and I think more countries are looking in that direction. And one reality now is that some African nations have become pawns in the hands of Israel and America and all of them. Why Somaliland is being recognized by Israel? Trump is bashing Somalians in America, saying, go back to your country. So I believe that there may be a proxy move by the global power. So we also should strive to become powerful within the templates.
Can I say something real quick?
Thank you.
Just wanted to connect your point about farming to insecurity, because the US attack was on farmland, supposedly in Sokoto. Then tie that to the point you're making about Myanmar and the AU. Now, when the Senegalese president changed the constitution to allow fourth term, and we send a delegation to go and congratulate him, you're signaling that it's okay behavior. So I don't see that body of people trying to control, because Professor Jinodu said the democracy bug as run out of the barn or whatever, that we have to figure out how to make it work. The genie is out of the bottle. Thank you. That we have to figure out how to make it work. But these things are all connected, because it's in democracy not working in some countries that gives rise to a Mali, a Burkina Faso, a Niger, that people are postulating might be America's interest in Nigeria, so they have access to the country. So all of these things are connected. And at the bottom of it is leadership. Okay,
fair enough. Well, but Mr. Ologun, I'm sure you're certain that the outcome of today's election in Myanmar is already given.
It's predictable.
It's a sham election.
It's predictable.
Yes. Anyway, let's take another topic. Last Tuesday, a major fire broke out at the imposing 25-story Great Nigeria Insurance Building on Martin Street, Lagos Island, prompting an emergency response from multiple fire stations across the state. 3 persons have been confirmed dead from the incident. According to a press release by the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, the affected property is likely a commercial facility. The Controller General of the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, Margaret Adeseye, confirmed the incident, stating that firefighters responded promptly after receiving a distress call. Well, there you have it, the fire this time. We don't know when the fire next time will come, but this is almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. Let me come back to you, Mr. Ologun.
Recently, it was the Afro building, and we spoke so much about the need to be proactive and preventive, particularly in respect of crises like this. But I don't know to what extent regulations will ensure that stakeholders are prepared for emergencies like this. As at yesterday, we were still monitoring that, thick smoke still coming out of that place. And again, what came to my mind is an insurance company building. To what extent are the occupants, insurance, informed? How do we protect our businesses in Nigeria? And I understand the governor has pronounced that that building will be pulled down. So I think we need to do more in orientation, that when we have a business conglomerate like that, we should put in place very vibrant firefighting equipment and be sure that the regulations that must be complied with in health, safety and environment in HR are complied with, so that it won't just be one of the incidents that will be swept under the carpet and we don't know when the next emergency will spring up. So I really feel for the businesses that have been affected by that emergency, particularly at a time like this. But we can do more in preventing.
Okay, Prof?
Yeah, I will begin with condolences to the families of those who died in that fire. It's unfortunate, but it's an accident. Accidents are not planned for. You only plan response to accidents. And maybe an approach that would reduce to the barest minimum the occurrence of accidents. I don't know how much. Some people are saying maybe electrical fault. It's not clear. So at different levels, first, safety procedures that would make this kind of thing to be reduced to the barest minimum. Second, response. As you will expect, of course, the fire service people said, the response was robust and efficient. And that place is very congested. Mm-hmm. That is one other thing that needs to be looked at. That place is extremely congested.
Physical planning.
Yes, physical planning. They've been trying, to be fair. I want Tokumbo Wahab, somebody like
yes. That's
trying,
the commissioner.
Yes, trying to clear, so that everywhere sometimes it's just chaos. Everybody has built to block everybody. So that is another thing that they would need to look at, and the fire service too needs to be maybe equipment like Barrister Ologun said. I have friends who have businesses around the place. That is confirmed that the fire we are still having. The fire is not totally put out yet. So when the fire service says the response was robust and everything, and how many days later the fire is not totally put out, that claim is not totally true, but we hope that the government will do the needful and learn from it so that, in future, would have. They will happen, but they can be reduced to the barest minimum when the right things are done.
Very quickly, it's just to your point about physical planning, and all these things are related. So you're talking about the commission, the land allocation in Lagos. People get proper COs, but then find out that their buildings are on sewage systems, but that they were gotten from the government through whatever means, and then you're tearing down buildings. We've had a series of collapsed buildings. But then what are we doing to mitigate? Like, I haven't seen any communication. We just have them. And this is then tied to, again, this fire. Earlier in the year is when the UBA building caught fire. Should that not have been, and people died, and again, my condolences to the family of this fire. But that would have been a perfect opportunity to actually do an audit of all those buildings, making sure that not only are you waiting for fire to respond, what do you have in the buildings that allows you to respond if there is a fire, because they're old buildings, people work there. And those are the things at the end of the day that if we have policies that were not being implemented, these things have real consequences, and the consequences sometimes are people's lives.
Well, two things. Great Nigeria Insurance Building. Many of those, businesses in that building were probably not insured, as Mr. Ologun said. And then other buildings were affected. Most painfully, the Shita Bay Mosque, which is the oldest mosque in Lagos, built in 1892. It would be unfortunate for such a heritage site to be affected. Now that the Lagos State government is saying the affected buildings will be pulled down. Now, finally, let's talk sports. Nigeria Super Eagles last night recorded a heartwarming 3-2 victory over the Carthage Eagles of Tunisia to book their place in the round of 16 at the ongoing 35th Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. The Super Eagles looked in full control for long spells and raced into a 3-goal lead, but a late Tunisian surge ensured a tense finish before Nigeria held on to secure a second straight win of the group stage. In the other Saturday results, Uganda drew 1-1 with Tanzania, with Senegal and DR Congo finishing with same result, while Benin Republic defeated Botswana 1-0. Well, Professor Aworawo, naturally I will come to you because you are the football person.
Before you do the football, let me do infrastructure. A friend of mine was there, and this is what he said. Just did a 13-hour road trip to watch Nigeria play. Excellent roads, secure country, a really enjoyable adventure. I don't think there's anybody that can do that in Nigeria and say that about Nigeria. And that's really quite unfortunate.
You want to compare Morocco to Nigeria?
No, but the point is why, why should, I'm just saying that it's just a reflection of our lost opportunities over time. I'm not talking about 2025. I'm just saying there's no reason why that should not be a testimony in Nigeria. Yeah. But talk about the actual soccer.
Yeah, I will confirm what you have said. I traveled from Johannesburg to Mpumalanga in 2013. It was that smooth as well. Yeah. And that's South Africa. So we need to, really race to catch up so that people can say the same thing.
Jimmy, they call us the giant of Africa. We've talked about 2 countries now that are not called the giant of Africa, and they can boast of things we can't talk about.
Anyway,
we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Okay.
Now, the match itself, yes, it was exciting. Many takeaways. The team came firing from the outset and, got the goals. So, the problem with the team is actually inconsistency. We hope they will be consistent this time. Even in the World Cup qualifier, when they needed 4 goals against Benin, they found it. The same Benin that defeated them in an earlier. So, what the team needs is actually consistency. And let me also say a few things about officiating. Why you give that for a penalty? That's not a penalty. They should not. The referees should not, make people laugh at Africa by the things they do. But we can only wish the team well and hope they go all the way. But like I said, Nigerians should continue to keep their expectations low so that, so that we won't have the kind of thing we have in Cote d'Ivoire when people had a heart attack and died. But congratulations to the team and we wish them all the best. May they go all the way so that we can have something to compensate for the failure to qualify. We don't know what the outcome will be yet for the World Cup.
Okay, Mr. Ologun.
I'm particularly happy, especially for Prof, because I was trying to encourage Prof last week that let the optimism rise and that with determination we can make it happen. Though I also sounded a warning that Morocco is also gunning to keep to bring the cup back since after winning in 1976. So we really have to put in our best. And great thanks to those three great strikers that dropped the goals for us to have the 3-2. So congrats, Nigeria. So we look forward to the next match and hope that consistency.
Bring the cup home.
If Morocco we allow.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ologun. Thank you, Professor Aworawo. Thank you very much, Yemi, Adamolekun, still the Executive Director. Enough is enough. You've been watching This Day Live, the Sunday talk show, here on Arise News. I'm Ruben Abati from our entire team here in Lagos. It's bye for now, and thank you very much for watching.